Hi everyone, I'm Sharlene and today I am going to be sharing with you a tutorial on how to insert a fly zip. So the pattern I'm working on here is the named clothing Tynni cigarette trousers, and I'm using our ex-designer chocolate cotton tencel sateen, stretch sateen. Absolutely beautiful fabric. Really have enjoyed working with this. So I'm not following the instructions completely, just to show you how to insert a fly zip. So some instructions might be slightly different, and I'll go through the parts, the pattern pieces that may be different, just so that you are aware of them. But the general construction is always going to be the same. I'll point out the main things that you need to look out for, like where to match your center fronts, to make sure that none of the zip is visible, and a few wee tips for top stitching as well, which is probably the trickiest part. But yeah, at the end of the day, most fly zips are constructed in a similar sort of manner. Some of the instructions might be a little bit different, but the process is mostly the same. So we will get started. So the first thing that we are going to do is talk through the different parts of the fly zip. So you will have your zipper guard, which is the bit that goes behind the zip after you've sewn it all on, and this is just to suppose protect your skin from getting caught on the zip. It's usually the wee flap that you see underneath. Then on the garment here, on this one we have, this is our fly piece here. Sometimes this is a separate piece depending on the pattern, but it usually gets stitched to the right hand side as worn. At the top here, so this is our center front notch, and on the back I have actually marked where the center front is on each side. So this is just to help us know that whenever everything has been sewn in place, these are the two lines that should meet for your center front, which will line up with your crotch here, which is already sewn. So another difference is that sometimes you attach the zip fly to your two front pieces before you construct the rest of it. On this pattern, the trousers were constructed first and then we're putting in the zip fly. So the first step will be the left hand side as worn. We are going to attach the zip onto this side here. It'll be further in from the seam allowance so that whenever it folds, we can then have this overlap here. So we will have the zip running along here. This here is our center front, and then this is where the trousers will close, so that you've got this wee overlap before you see your zip. So I have the zip here and I am sewing it to the left side of my trousers as worn, with a 1 centimeter seam allowance, which will bring it in closer to the edge than the center front. So when I get close to the top where the zipper pull is, if you leave your needle down in, and then I'm going to pull that down out of the way. It is a wee bit fiddly. And then it means that it's not going to get in the way as you're sewing right up to the top. So now you can see here We have our center front line mark there, and this is going to sit further over so that when the other side comes over to meet here, you're not going to see any of the zip. So once we have the zip sewn in for the first time on the side, the fly guard will go in behind it. So this, the seam allowance in this pattern is 1 centimeter, so it'll be starting 1 centimeter down from the top. And on the back here, this should cover this raw edge here and the edge of the zip. So this is going to be stitched down here, and then when it's finished, this will be here. This side will open, and then we have our fly guard here, which protects your skin against the rough teeth of this metal zip. So when we're top stitching this side here, we'll be stitching down the fly guard as well. So that's the next step. So when I am top stitching any sort of zip, I like to use the edge of my zipper foot here as a guide along the folded edge of the fabric, and that gives you a nice straight line. So now the next stage after sewing the zipper fly in is to attach the right hand side of the zip to the fly. You want to have the front of the trousers closed up with the centre fronts matching so that this sits nice and flat once the zip has been sewn in. You can see where the fly piece on the inside will match to the zip. The easiest way to do this is to pin it from the outside with everything closed in place first, and then either hand tack it in place, baste it in place, and move the pins to the inside, or just to turn it over, open the zip once you have it pinned, and remove the pins to the inside. So you can see here I'm feeling for where the zipper tape is on the inside, and then placing the pins in, making sure that everything is nice and flat on the front. This part can be quite fiddly, so take your time making sure that you get everything pinned in place accurately. As I say, baste it in place first if you need to check that it's all okay. And once you have a few pins in, you can open the zip, and it's a wee bit easier then to get the rest of it in. So you want to pin from the zipper side now so that you can sew it with the zipper facing up, and then just continue pinning, either swapping your pins over, or as I've said, if you prefer to baste it in place first, you can do that before turning the pins over. So the next stage will be to top stitch the fly area, which will stop this part of the trousers opening. So once you have your right hand side of the zip stitched in as worn, the next stage will be to top stitch the fly down. So a lot of the time the patterns will come with a guide pattern piece that you can just place down and trace around it. But the main thing that you want to do is make sure that the fly piece that is being folded back in is caught within your top stitching. So I'm just going to draw a line straight down here where I know that's sitting, and this will be my guide for top stitching then. And then you want to make sure that you get right down to the bottom here where your zipper is. So ideally you don't want to, your top stitching should come below the end of the zip. It does get quite tricky down at the bottom. And as you can see here where I have it marked, it will be catching the edge of the fly. And if you just pin that in place to make sure that it doesn't move. And the first straight line that will be sewn, you need to make sure that the zipper guard is out of the way, that it's not going to get caught in your stitching, or else you won't be able to open them. Again, opening the zip here might be helpful for getting all your pins in place. So this will hold the zip in place now. And this folded edge is your center front. I'm just going to give it another wee press here to keep it sitting flat. We'll top stitch down to the straight part first with the fly guard out of the way, and then take our time going around this corner here. So now we have this top stitching done. I stitched down to here with the fly guard out of the way, and then after that I moved the fly guard back in place. So you can see here we've got the fly guard so that these can still be opened, but this bottom part here is still all stitched down along with this top stitching. So the top stitching is tricky, especially down here at the bottom when you've got the zip and things in the way. So you really need to take your time, maybe mark where the end of your zip is, and to make sure you don't sew over that bit. So that is how to insert a fly zip. So I have done a few things differently, just to show you the general construction of a fly zip, and hopefully you have found it helpful. If you're following along this pattern, you do insert the facing while you're doing the fly zip before you've done the top stitching. So just to make you aware of that, you will be doing that differently. But apart from that, everything else was fairly similar. So if there's any other tutorials that you would like us to do, anything that you find really tricky that you would like a wee bit of help with, please let us know in the comments down below and we can see what we can do to help. And if there's any other types of video you would like to see, also let us know. I'm going to have these finished very soon. I have a few other things that I've been working on and that I finished, so I will have another what I've been making video to share very, very soon. I can't wait to share that with you all. And yeah, that's everything from me. I hope you're all keeping well, and I will chat to you all soon. Bye.